Story 1.
Would I be the a-hole for not letting my best friend stay at my house again after she told me we are not family? My best friend of 12 years, and I just had a situation that really hurt me. She has been staying at my house with my family for the past month. This is not the first time she has stayed long-term. We treat her like family, and I have always said I view my close friends as chosen family. Last week, we went on a trip to Miami. On the last day, we were tired and rushing to pack. I had borrowed a pair of her sneakers. She told me not to pack more sneakers because I can borrow hers. I packed my heels and purses that we planned to share. I assumed I would be wearing the sneakers I used for the airport to leave to come back home. That morning, she decided to wear them instead, which is totally fine. Duh, they're hers. She offered me another pair, but I did not want to wear those. I noticed another pair outside her suitcase and asked if I could wear them. She danced around the question, beat around the bush. I then said, "You don't want me to wear these, right?" She said no. I responded, "Just say that then." I will admit my tone was frustrated. I did not yell or try to start anything. I know I sounded irritated. Later, we talked about it and she told me my comment felt like fighting words. Literal physical fighting. I explained I was not trying to be hostile. I was tired and frustrated and I apologized.
It was not that deep. To me.
Then she said something that really hurt me. I talk to my sisters like that, but we're just friends, not family, so that's not acceptable between us. That stung. She has been sleeping in my bed, helping cook for my family, sharing life with us for weeks. Not to say because of this that I can speak to her, however. I understand where she was coming from on that, but her saying this sprouted a completely separate issue. I have always seen her as family, even if we are not blood. I said, "You're staying in my house," and she backtracked. Don't get it twisted, you are family, but friends shouldn't talk like that. Still, the damage was done. I feel like I crossed a line once, but she dismissed the whole foundation of our bond. I told her again that I did not mean it that way, that I'm not perfect, and sometimes when my patience runs thin, I slip up. I have had similar issues with family too. It really only happens when I reach a point, and that rarely happens. During our talk, I also brought up that she was in a mood that morning too, short and not her usual self. I asked her to acknowledge that, but she didn't. She didn't apologize or reflect on her own energy at all. Then, mid-conversation, she goes, "Me and blank, our other friend, are going to North Carolina this weekend if you want to come. It's an open invitation, I guess." The way she said it felt weird. After everything, that I guess rubbed me the wrong way. For context, she has invited me to visit her in California too. I have not been able to go, so she is not a bad friend. However, right now, I feel really hurt. I open my home and heart, and after one miscommunication, I am being told we are not family. I am considering not letting her stay with me again, just to protect my peace. Would I be the a-hole for setting that boundary? Top comments. You clearly consider her a closer friend than she considers you. It seems like she only backtracked on the considering you family bit once she realized that she is relying on you to house her. Not the a-hole. If you are accommodating your friend more than you would prefer, then you should scale back a bit. If you gave your friend free rein over your heels and bags, yet she didn't do the same for you, then your comment was justified. You had reason to feel and express your frustration. Her condemning you for being only a friend then seems disingenuous, a way to say you had no right to be critical of her. That is problematic. I get that you are focused on the friend versus family bit, but that might not be the true conflict. You hosted her for a month, she is a regular guest, and she is your best friend of 12 years. Given all that, it seems weird that she would react so strongly to your negative comment. Friends like you do generally disagree, and even occasionally bicker. Are you both so polite that's not true for you? Or do you normally just give in to her? Not the a-hole. So you had a human moment and you apologized for it. She also had a human moment but did not apologize, while also saying something that was really hurtful. Yikes. It's totally understandable why you would not want to be around her anymore. What she said definitely changed the dynamics of your relationship. I say take a couple weeks or a month to sit with the feelings, think about exactly why it is that you are upset, and what you want done to resolve the conflict. If she has not reached out to you by then you reach out to her and see if y'all can have a calm discussion about what happened. Maybe she is going through something that you don't know about, and this is the way that it came out. For a long friendship like that, I say, give it a chance. But if at the end of the conversation you still don't feel good about the relationship, then let it go. Whether you tell her directly that you don't wish to continue the relationship with her, or you just quietly quit, that's completely up to you. Not every relationship is a forever one, and perhaps this one has run its course. Good luck. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. She seems to be signaling she feels a little differently about your bond than you do. Since you don't feel heard and the conversation didn't really yield what you needed, now may be a good time to take a small step back from each other, just for now perhaps. Life is long, and people sometimes grow and change. A friendship can expand and contract, deepen and breathe, go dormant, or fully end over the years. Kick her to the curb, she's way too comfortable. So she can stay in your house, sleep in your bed, eat your food, but you cannot wear a pair of sneakers. She's going to crash out over that. Forget her. Not the a-hole.
Story 2.
Am I the a-hole for asking my husband not to go to a barbecue while our newborn screams every night? I gave birth 6 weeks ago, and it's been rough physically, mentally, emotionally. I'm still recovering from an emergency C-section, and on top of that, doctors are looking into possible liver and pancreas issues because I just haven't been feeling well. And then there's the mental toll, which, honestly, has been overwhelming. Our newborn cries, non-stop, for hours every night, likely due to colic. We've tried everything, meds, soothing techniques, nothing has helped. At the same time, we also have a 6-year-old with his own bedtime routine, baths, stories, the usual. So my husband and I have been tag-teaming. One of us takes the baby, the other handles our older child. It's exhausting, but we're doing our best to manage. Last night, my husband got invited to a barbecue with his guy friends. The timing? Right when the baby usually starts her crying marathon. I asked him not to go, explaining that I really needed help during that window, just that time. It's not like this was some once-in-a-lifetime event. These guys meet all the time. His response? Babies cry. Just deal with it. I'm going. I tried to explain that this wasn't about me being unable to handle it. It's just that I'm already stretched so thin, and I thought he could see that. I said it felt selfish to prioritize a barbecue over being present with his family during a difficult time. He accused me of being controlling. That really hurt. I wasn't trying to control him. I was asking for support. Eventually, he apologized and admitted he was wrong. Said he understood how hard it would be if he left, and promised he wouldn't go. But today, he changed his mind, told me he is going. And if I can't handle it, he'll just take the baby to his mom's. Let me be clear. His mom lives far away. She doesn't know what we've been trying for the colic. Our baby doesn't know her. And to be honest, the relationship between me and his mom is complicated. It felt manipulative. Like he knew I'd never actually agree to send our screaming newborn to someone she's unfamiliar with. But by offering that as a solution, he could now say, well, I tried.
I'm exhausted.
I feel gaslit. I'm not asking for much. I just want support from my partner during the hardest part of our day. So, am I the a-hole for asking him not to go? Top comments. Not the a-hole. Tell him to take the 6-year-old to his mom instead. Honestly, my blood boiled at that. The threat of taking a 6-week-old off a struggling mother, who doesn't want that? Asshole. There is a reason he didn't suggest sending the 6-year-old to grandma. The husband should be taking the 6-year-old with him if he wants an outing. The only events my husband has attended without me, he has taken our 3-year-old with him. And at only 6 weeks, we didn't attend any outside events since our baby hadn't gotten his first vaccines yet. Not the a-hole. The comment, babies cry, just deal with it, would have him sleeping in his mother's house if he was my husband. Not the a-hole. This is so infuriating. I'm so sorry he is treating you like this after everything you've been through. If I had a partner who carried my child for 9 months, had major abdominal surgery, and suffered ongoing health issues to ensure the safe delivery of my child, I'd be worshiping the ground they walked on for the rest of my life. He's being incredibly selfish, invalidating your feelings, and there's just no excuse for this other than pure selfishness. If he really wanted to see his friends, he could have worked with you to find a day/time that suited. If they're really his friends, they'd be more than willing to move things around to accommodate his sick/injured wife, sick newborn, and 6-year-old. Not the a-hole. However you resolve this issue, I would definitely not have any more children with this man. He's shown you over and over again what he values and what his priorities are. Not the a-hole. Remind him that after a C-section, we aren't usually cleared for returning to work until 8 weeks with no complications. Leaving you 6 weeks post-op is unreasonable in so many ways. You still technically have a weight lift limit which your 6 years old probably exceeds. He's being selfish. He's being inconsiderate. He's being delusional if he thinks this is okay. I'm glad you are trying to make him see this. I used to back down too easily and prove to everyone how I could do it alone. Not healthy for anyone involved.
Story 3. Am I the a-hole for not telling my girlfriend about my daughter's phobia? I, 50 male, have been dating my girlfriend, let's call her Sarah, 45 female, for a little over a year. I have 2 kids, a 16-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old son. When my daughter was just 4, she nearly drowned during a swim lesson. Ever since, she's had an intense phobia of water. It's so severe that she refuses to take baths and will only shower. My son, on the other hand, is a great swimmer. Still, my daughter, being the older sibling, is very protective of him, especially around water. Sarah's parents have a pool at their house, and today we were invited over for a pool party to celebrate one of Sarah's nephew's birthdays. He's actually become good friends with my son, so both kids were invited. I told my daughter multiple times that she didn't have to come. I said I'd check in with her, and she could stay home or hang out with friends if she preferred. But she insisted on coming with us to the party. As expected, she became tense and irritable near the pool. That's a common reaction for her, but to anyone who doesn't know the backstory, she probably just came across as a moody teenager being overly controlling with her brother. At one point, Sarah started criticizing her for bossing him around. Eventually, my daughter snapped, she yelled, "I don't want my brother to drown," and ran off crying. Sarah looked at me, completely confused. So I quietly explained what happened to my daughter when she was little and that she has a serious water phobia. Sarah was furious that I hadn't told her earlier. She accused me of being a bad father and an asshole for not warning her and for letting people think my daughter was just being difficult. I told her that this isn't something my daughter is proud of. She doesn't like talking about it, and I don't feel it's my place to share her trauma with others unless she chooses to. She's old enough to speak for herself if she wants to. Sarah didn't take that well. She called me a horrible dad and stormed off. I ended up leaving the party early with my kids, and we haven't spoken since. Sarah told me to leave her alone for a few days. So, am I the a-hole? Top comments. You are the a-hole for 1, allowing your daughter to force her way to a pool party where you knew this would happen. 2, claiming, "I don't need to tell everyone," yet allowing her to attend your girlfriend's pool party while withholding this info from someone you have been dating for a year. 3, not putting your daughter in therapy. Also, how does your 13-year-old excellent swimmer feel about your daughter constantly projecting and bossing him around? I'd be irritated so much if my parents didn't step up and deal with my sister who is constantly shouting over me. Also, if that was my house and someone brought a moody teenager who kept yelling at her sibling and ruining the mood, I would ask them not bring the teenager over to my pool party again. Honestly surprised that the daughter didn't pass her fear of water along to her brother by constantly shouting at him while in water. That has to be dizzying as a young child, feeling as if there might be danger or you're doing something wrong, along with just annoying the older you get that you can't properly enjoy the notion of swimming. You're doing a disservice to your daughter. Her phobia isn't an excuse to be moody or irritable to those around her, along with being bossy, and deciding for her brother what he does in a pool. Speaking to a professional over her fear of water may be beneficial for her, and I suggest you look into it if you have not already. With the question on hand, I do feel as if you set up your girlfriend to fail. You knew that this situation would be stressful for your daughter, and have the potential of her acting out. It would have been a more than helpful heads up to your girlfriend so that the tension wouldn't escalate and problems wouldn't have arose the way they did. You are the a-hole. You are the a-hole, for sure. Your daughter, a teenager, is still very much your responsibility and therefore you're in charge of keeping her safe. If you do not disclose this information with the people you keep around her, something can happen. How do you think Sarah would feel if there had been an accident due to her ignorance of the phobia? She's your partner, who will, presumably, spend a lot of time with your kids. Also, have you taken your daughter to therapy to process her trauma? If not, that makes you an even bigger a-hole. You are the a-hole. You have failed your daughter in not getting her help for this trauma, and I say that as someone who had a drowning scare as a toddler myself. You further failed your girlfriend and daughter in letting them go into this situation unaware and unprepared. The adults you had in charge of your kids didn't know she had this trauma. Did they know the minor near their pool couldn't swim? For something like that, the embarrassment of not knowing how to swim is nothing if someone tried to do one of those awfully common pranks of pushing people into a pool. And this incident further adds negativity to your daughter's associations with water and will make it harder for her to ever address the issue. Letting your daughter panic and try to control her brother isn't appropriate. She needs help to have better strategies to cope. And hopefully techniques so that she can work through some of the fear, from a place where anyone around is supportive and helpful. Her being around people yelling at her for the bad coping strategy she has can make the whole issue worse. You are the a-hole. You set your girlfriend up to fail, and worse, you set your daughter up to fail. You put your daughter in a situation which you knew was going to be high stress, you haven't helped her develop coping mechanisms for it, and you didn't prepare your girlfriend, who has an unwritten duty of care to kids around water, to deal with your daughter's very predictable meltdown. You owe both of them an apology, and if your daughter hasn't had counseling for this, get her some.
Am I the a-hole for showing up on Mother's Day after my sister-in-law warned me she'd cause a scene if I did? My sister-in-law, Cleo, made it very clear in the days leading up to Mother's Day she didn't want me there. In fact, she told me straight up that no one wanted me around. According to her, I should just drop off my husband, Ryan, her brother, and quietly disappear. And if I dared to come along, she warned she'd make it everyone's problem. Let me be honest, I knew it wasn't about Mother's Day. It was about control. Cleo and I have had an ongoing conflict that she refuses to let go of. My husband and I are in an open marriage. She doesn't approve of it, and she's decided that I'm a threat. To her, I'm someone her vulnerable brother needs protecting from. Never mind the fact that Ryan is a fully capable adult, or that he wants me by his side. In her mind, he's disabled and fragile, and I must be manipulating him somehow. She's tried confronting me in the past, and it didn't go well for her. Honestly, I think a lot of this is her pride. Bruised ego, wounded pride, call it what you will, but Cleo is determined to make me the villain. Still, I didn't want drama. I just wanted to spend the day with the family, and especially with my mother-in-law, who I have a wonderful relationship with. She's always been kind and supportive. I even made her a small stained glass piece of lilacs, her favorite flower. Ryan told me he wanted me there. He also assured me that his mother would want that too. So we made a plan. We'd show up together. I'd give her the gift, and if it became clear she didn't want me there, I would quietly leave. After all, it was her day, not Cleo's. When we arrived, my mother-in-law welcomed me with open arms. Literally. She smiled, hugged us both, and ushered us inside. I gave her the gift, and she lit up with joy. She even hung it in her kitchen window immediately. It felt right, like I belonged. But Cleo wasn't going to let that last. She cornered me within minutes. Her tone was icy. "Why are you here? I told you not to come." Then she added something about how her mother deserved to enjoy the day without interlopers. That's my word, not hers. Hers was more vulgar, more cutting. It didn't stop there. She kept poking, trying to get a reaction. Eventually, my mother-in-law overheard and stepped in. She calmly asked Cleo why she was causing such a stir. Cleo, without missing a beat, said, "I warned her not to come." That's when my mother-in-law raised her voice, just slightly, but enough to make it clear. "Knock it off." She told Cleo that whatever issues existed between the two of us, they were ours to sort out, and she wasn't going to let it ruin her day. Cleo didn't take that well. She snapped. She claimed I was the real problem, that she was just trying to protect the family. My mother-in-law repeated herself, firmer this time. "Enough." Cleo grabbed her purse and stormed out. The rest of us tried to settle back into the celebration, but the mood had shifted. That dark cloud she promised to bring? Yeah, it hung there. Later that night, I told Ryan I felt awful for casting a shadow over the day. But he held my hand and said, "You didn't."
Cleo did.
She's isolating herself by thinking she always knows best. He promised to try to talk to her again, but admitted she never really listens. The next day, I woke up to a flood of messages from her, long, angry, accusatory messages. All of them boiled down to one chilling message. "I don't trust you. I'm going to prove to everyone that you're no good. You ruined Mother's Day." Now I'm left wondering, was I in the wrong? I knew she'd try something. She said she would. And yet I showed up anyway. She is, after all, their daughter. I'm just me.
Top comments.
Your sister-in-law is a psycho. Her actions are her own. There was no need for her to do anything, yet she chose to. Her mom and brother told her to stop. She did not. That's all her. Hopefully your husband and mother-in-law will continue to stick up for you, and maybe it'll stop. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. You are not responsible for how people choose to act. Cleo is at fault for all of this. She created the drama. She ruined the day. You should continue to ignore her threats and make the choices you would have regardless of what she wants. Ultimately, she is going to piss everyone else off too. Not the a-hole. Your husband hit the nail on the head with his take. Cleo's issue is her own problem, that it seems no one else in the family supports. It's on her for making a scene and her own choice to leave.
Not on you.
Also, she didn't warn you. She threatened you. She threatened to embarrass you and try to push you out of a home that wasn't her own and a party she didn't throw. Seems pretty silly and entitled to think she has that much power over mother-in-law's life. Absolutely not the a-hole, and my heart goes out to you. I know this is the last thing you want to do, but you and Ryan should discuss telling your mother-in-law about the situation. Because Cleo absolutely is going to tell her at some point, most likely very soon, and you two will lose control of the narrative once she puts her spin on it. You and Ryan have a very loving relationship, and I see a lot of my husband and myself in the two of you. Don't let Cleo try to destroy what you have with each other and what you have with your mother-in-law. Not the a-hole. I don't know how she even knows about your open marriage, but it's not her business. I'm not even sure that's the problem, or if she has Nightingale syndrome, where she'd come up with any excuse to not like his partner, because she just has to protect him. Either way, your mother-in-law wanted you there, so no matter what anyone else wanted, you did nothing wrong.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for daily life stories.